today the bracelet I'm going to be showing you is a bit of a arrowhead based bracelet again, and it looks just like this. So for this craft you are going to need some kind of colored string. It can be yarn, it could be hemp, it could be fabric, like fabric strips. It could be anything you want, but for me, I like to use embroidery floss. It comes in little packets like this, and these packets alone are about 50 cents, making this a pretty cheap craft. Or you can get it in big bags for like 20 bucks around there from Michael's, Walmart, that sort of thing. So you will need that. You will need 5 different colors of that for this particular bracelet. So I have my 5 colors here. And then you will need a pair of snips. And then you will also need something to anchor your bracelet down while you're knotting. For me, I like to use a safety pin, but some people are okay with tape. Some people use binders. Some people use all kinds of different things. But for me, what's easiest today is going to be a safety pin. So we're going to set up in mirror pattern. To do this bracelet, you don't have to go back and watch the arrowhead bracelet tutorial, but I would strongly suggest it. And then perhaps the Diamonds and X's tutorial that I have uploaded may be valuable as well for this bracelet pattern. So now that I've got them mirror setups, like I said, mirror setup is basically, I should be able to take one side and flip it over and it looks the exact same. So that's what I have here. And we're going to start off, just do one full set each, so a line of each of your colors in regular arrowhead. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that, and I'll meet back up with you in a moment. Okay, so now that I have my full set of arrowhead done, we're going to go ahead and start getting into the diamonds. I'm going to start with my right hand side as I usually do. And using my outer string, so in this case my blue, I am going to do 2 forwards knots and then a backwards forwards knot. Or sorry, 2 backwards knots and then a backwards forwards knot. So there's my 2 backwards knots, and then here I did a backwards and then a forwards. So that my blue is now sitting 2 strings in. So I have my gray and my yellow on the outside. Now I am going to take my gray string and I'm going to do a backwards forwards knot. So we're going to do backwards and then forwards. From there, I'm going to take this blue again and I'm going to take it and put it around the yellow. We're going to do, because we're working left to right, remember, left to right is always forwards and right to left is always backwards. So I'm going to do 2 forwards knots because I want my blue string to come to the right again. And then when I get to my gray string, I'm going to do a forwards backwards knot. Like that. So this is because if we look at our bracelet here, this turquoise string, for instance, comes in, and then it goes out, and then it goes in, and then it goes out, and doesn't ever go the whole way. So this is the same string, just going, wiggling back and forth here. So now that I've done that, I'm going to flip over and I'm going to keep it even. So I'm going to do the same thing on this left-hand side. So I'm going to take my blue around my gray. I'll just lay these strings out so you guys can see a little bit better. So taking my blue string around the gray string here, I'm going to do a forwards knot. Like that. And then I'm going to do a forwards knot around the yellow as well. So remember, forwards makes a 4, and then draw the loose end through the loop. And do that twice to complete a full forwards knot. Okay, so next we're going to do a forwards backwards knot. So as a reminder, that's creating a 4, bringing your loose end through, pulling that tight, and then before completing your forwards knot, you create a backwards knot with a sail, pull your loose end through, and like that. So again, just like on the other side, your blue string should end up 2 strings in. You should have a gray and a yellow on the outside. So now we're going to take that gray string and we're going to do a forwards backwards knot. So again, do your 4, and then before doing another 4, create a sail and put your gray string knotted but back on the outside again. Now using the blue string, we're going to go over the yellow string, so we're going to do a backwards knot because again, now we're working right to left. So there's 1 and 2, and now we're going to do, now that we're on the outside on that gray string, we're going to do a backwards forwards knot to bring our string back to working direction left to right. So now we have something that looks like this. Now we're going to go into our center. So we're going to split our strings up here and we're going to go for our red strings. So our red, we're going to take around the green. And because we're working right to left, we are doing backwards knots here. So we do 1, and now on this yellow one, we're going to do a backwards forwards knot because we don't want to knot around the blue, which we have to make come out and do another triangle. So we're going to go backwards, forwards. Now our red string is again pointed, ready to go this way, and we're going to come to the other side and we're going to do the same thing. So our red is going to knot around the green, doing a forwards knot. And then a forwards backwards knot. So forwards and backwards. So now you can kind of see how the diamond's going to work there in the middle. So we're just going to knot these 2 green strings together. And like usual, when you have 2 strings the same color, it doesn't matter how you knot them. You can do a forwards knot, you could do a backwards knot, you could do a forwards backwards knot or a backwards forwards knot. They're the same color, so it really doesn't matter. So now we're going to take this red string. I'm going to do the right side because, as you guys know, I like to start on the right hand side. And I'm going to do a backwards knot because I am working right to left around that green, like that. And just the one, because when we bring this side in, we want to complete our diamond and knot our red strings together. So on this side, we're doing a forwards knot because we're working left to right. And then knotting our 2 strings together however you like. So now you should look something like this. So we're going to start with our blue string because it's already knotted around the gray here. And just like last time, here I'll lay these out a little bit nicer so you guys can see. So like last time, we're going to do backwards knots. So we're going to create a sail and we're going to pull the loose end through and pull it tight, create a sail and pull the loose end through and pull it tight to create 1 backwards knot and set that yellow aside. Then we're going to grab the green and we're going to do a backwards forwards knot because we want our string ready to go left to right again. So we're going to start with a backwards knot, and then instead of completing it as a full backwards stitch or knot, we're going to turn around and do a forwards knot and just pull that tight. So our string is now ready, our blue is now ready to go back towards the right hand side. But leaving the blue alone for a moment, we're going to grab this gray here on the outside and we are going to do a backwards forwards knot. So we're starting with our sail and we're going to pull our loose end through the loop and tighten that once. And then I'm going to create the forwards half of this knot and pull it tight. So now our gray is back on the outside, and just like last time, you can bring this blue in the rest of the way. So we're going to go forwards over the yellow, just like that, and then we're going to do forwards, backwards over the gray here because we need to do one more triangle. So now your right hand side should look something like this. So we're going to set the right side away and we're going to do the same thing on the left. So taking our blue string, we're going to do a forwards knot, knot it once and do it twice. And then around our green, we're going to do a forwards backwards knot so that our string is ready to go right to left to finish off this triangle. So now we're going to grab our gray on the outside here and we're going to do a forwards backwards knot. So we create our 4, pull it tight, and then a sail and pull it tight. Then we're going to bring our blue string back across. So we're doing just a backwards knot there, and then a backwards forwards knot. So we're ready to do our next triangle. Okay, so now you should have something that looks like this. So we have 2 triangles and 1 diamond. So now we need to do another diamond here. So to do that, I'm going to take my red string on my right hand side and I'm going to do forwards knots. Just like that. And then remember, I want to go until I see the blue string is right next to my knotting string in this case. So I'm going to do another forwards knot, but I don't want to knot around the blue after. So I'm going to do forwards and then a forwards backwards knot. And now I'm going to work on the other side. So on this side we're working right to left, so I want to do a backwards knot. Just like that. And then around this yellow, because my blue is right next to it here, I want to do a backwards forwards knot because we don't want to knot around that blue next time around. Now I'm going to knot the green strings together to create the center of our diamond. Just like that, and close out the diamond with the red. So on the right hand side you're doing backwards knots, or a backwards knot, and on the left hand side you're doing a forwards knot. So now we have 2 diamonds and 2 triangles. So now we're going to do the triangle, the last triangle on our right hand side. So we're going to set the gray aside because we're going to use that later. And this blue is ready to go already. So we're going to go ahead and tie it around the yellow in a backwards knot. And then we're going to do a backwards forwards knot. Now, because that's ready to go and we do not want a yellow center here, we're going to grab our gray and we're going to knot our gray in a backwards forwards knot. And then this blue is going to come out to the gray, and again we're going to do a turnaround here with a forwards backwards knot. So now we have our 3 triangles. We're going to do the mirror of that on the left hand side here. So setting the gray aside for later, we're going to grab this blue because it's ready to go, and we're going to do a forwards knot, just like that. And then around the green, we're going to do a forwards backwards knot. Just like that. And now we're ready for the gray, so that gray is going to knot around the yellow in a forwards backwards knot. And then we're going to bring the blue across to finish out this triangle with a backwards knot and then a backwards forwards knot. So we're going to grab our red on the right hand side, and we're going to do the same thing we've been doing. So we're going to create a 4 and do a forwards knot, just like that. And then around the yellow, we're going to do a forwards backwards knot, because we don't want to knot around our blue. To the left hand side now, we're going to do the same thing. Mirror, of course. So we're going to create a backwards knot and then a backwards forwards knot. Just like that. And then because we have these 2 greens sitting in the middle here, we're going to just knot them together. And then bring this red in to close off the diamond. Okay, so now if you recall our pattern here, I'll show you again. Now we've created the 3 triangles and the 3 diamonds, so it's time to close this off and do another set of arrowhead. So I'm going to go ahead and do that here. That's why we turned around our blue, because our blue is going to be our first arrowhead. So now I have technically done a full set of arrowhead, but if you want your pattern to rotate kind of like this one, so everything kind of sees a fair amount of usage string-wise, then at this point you'd want to do another row of the blue and bring it to be your center diamonds colors. Otherwise, you could repeat the red again and just repeat this exactly over and over again. So that's up to you guys, but I will finish out this bracelet pattern and for the length I want, and I'll come back and finish this off with you. Alright, so once you've got your bracelet to the desired length, we're going to finish it off. I'm going to do a simple rope braid. So I take the two different sides and I'm going to twist them this way, and then I'm going to wrap them together this way. That's going to keep it together like a rope. So here we go. I'm twisting my strings towards the right, and then I'm going to wrap them to the left. Once you've got your tie or your braid done as long as you want, you're just going to tie it off. So I just create a loop and put my loops strings through, nothing fancy, and pull that tight. Then I'm going to use my scissors and snip that off, just like so. Unanchor your bracelet now that it is finished, and to tie it on, you're just going to take your braided end through the loop, like so. You're going to create another loop, actually. And normally I show you guys how to do this not on a wrist, but I'll show you this time how I tie it on myself. So to tie your bracelet on, you're going to put your wrist in the middle of it with the back facing up, and you're going to take your tie end and you're going to push it through your starting loop like this. Now you're going to create a loop. So you're basically just bringing this back up around itself. So now we have a loop here, and we're going to bring that loose end through and then just pull it tight. And there you have it, another arrowhead variation bracelet. So if you like this craft, let me know down below. Subscribe, give me some ideas of other crafts you guys might want to see, and I will see you next time. Happy crafting!